Pakistan has gone to polls, and a lot of conversation on whether if this is a selected prime minister or an elected prime minister, selected government or an elected government. PML-N and PPP are fighting it out. But the big picture also includes PTI. Imran Khan is in jail, but his supporters, members of the PTI, are fighting the election. So we'll see what really happens to those who are fighting as independents. Gaurav joins me over here to discuss a little more on Pakistan elections. Gaurav, what does it seem like right now? Because it almost seems like everybody has decided who the next Prime Minister of Pakistan is going to be.
So it's anyway being said that this is not an election, it's a selection, and it's selection of Mia Nawaz Sharif. After Teen Talaq, that, this is once again, Pakistan Army says Kubul hai for Mia Nawaz Sharif. That period of iddat is also over. And why are we using this terminology of triple talaq and iddat and Kubul hai?
Because of the Imran Khan reference.
Because of Imran Khan reference, Imran Khan has been convicted along with his wife Bushra Begum in a case where the period of iddat wasn't followed. At least that is what is the charge against him. And perhaps all of these are ways to just show Imran Khan in very, very poor light in Pakistan. So one case, he's been convicted for 14 years, one case 10 years, and one case 7 years.
7 years. So it is looking very bad for Imran Khan. Personally, his political career could be in a lot of trouble if not coming to an end. But let's not ignore the independents here, Gaurav. It is going to be very interesting if the independents win, because that certainly shows that despite Imran Khan losing support of the army, that people still are supporting him, that he still has or enjoys popularity, that his party that people still think that his party is better than a PML-N, where Nawaz Sharif has come back after an exile, after having been convicted, and PPP, where you have Asif Ali Zardari, a tough negotiator, but one of those rare people who actually completed his term as president of Pakistan. No other leader in Pakistan has managed to do that.
So
but also known as the 10% man.
So in case more than 20 or 30 independents win, 80 was a figure that was being put forward by some. In case this happens, then this will be the first defeat of the Pakistan army in their own country after having lost every war to India from 1947. This would mean that Imran Khan has actually succeeded in defeating Pakistan army despite being in jail.
Yeah,
because
and the perception.
Yeah.
Also in perception, not just on ground, in reality. The whole perception that if the military supports one leader, the entire janta, the population follows, that has changed, Gaurav.
So I personally believe that Pakistan army is like an emperor with no clothes. The Pakistan army stands completely discredited inside Pakistan, and especially after the Balakot airstrikes of 2019. The Pakistan army owed all its power, its prestige to the fact that this was the only force, that Islamic force that was holding India back, a kafir country. They were like Allah's sword or something. That's the way they projected themselves. So even their operations were Zarbe-az and this and that. So this was the army of the faithful fighting the infidels. And that army was bashed up in Balakot, that Air Force, when Indian Air Force fighter jets went in, bombed Pakistan, came back safe. And the next day, when Wing Commander Abhinandan, his aircraft fell in Pakistan after shooting down an F-16, India did not plead with Pakistan to release Abhinandan. As Ajay Bisaria has written in his book, and as Prime Minister Narendra Modi had mentioned in that Gujarat election speech, India had its missiles aimed at Pakistan, and Pakistan was warned of Aaj ki raat, Katl ki raat. And Pakistan army shot, if I may.
Yeah.
And they released Abhinandan. So that destroyed the reputation of the Pakistan army completely. Along with then Imran Khan supporters burning the house of the Corps Commander, PAF base.
I think yes.
Now the emperor is naked, everybody knows.
Pakistan's image did take a beating, but I don't think Pakistan or the people of Pakistan are so India focused as people. I'm not talking about the military, I'm talking about the people. For the people, I think the last few years have been really bad when it comes to their economy. And they blame that also on the Pakistani military.
Because it's the Pakistan army that actually runs the country.
Exactly.
Conflicts banate.
Exactly.
In which other country, in which other civilized country would the army be making cement and cornflakes and selling off their own country's land,
that's what I'm
giving
saying.
it to the generals?
So the focus was not what happened between India and Pakistan per se, but the fact that people in the recent past have really suffered, and they blame it on why? Because Imran Khan was also put in that position by the military. So the people actually blame Pakistani military for the situation that the country is in. And it is in absolute dire straits when it comes to the economy, food, basic necessities. Inflation is at its peak.
30%.
So this is unimaginable for a country that's already a poor country. It's a maybe near developing country, not even
But
developing.
Pakistan is still not sorted now. Even now, when you hear their YouTubers talking to their common man, while they realize that they can never get Kashmir, and there's an old saying, "Bhuke bhajan na hoy Gopala." So I mean, can you imagine if they're selling off their daughters to Chinese, and Pakistani women are being pawned off to China? What a bad situation that country is in. They can't afford 2 square meals a day, and yet कभी कश्मीर के नाम पे एक पैर पे खड़े हो जाओ, कभी कश्मीर के नाम पे 2 मिनट का silence कर लो.
That's again a change.
So
we've seen so much of focus in the political spectrum within Pakistan on Kashmir, which used to not be the case. There was space or room in the past to not speak about, especially during elections, not focus so much on India. Today, every political party not just mentions India, whether they're trying to put the other down by praising India, but certainly mentioning Article 370 and Kashmir. There's been so much of focus on India in this election, which we've never seen before, and I've covered quite a few elections in the past.
That's another thing. Apart from Balakot, Article 370 completely ruined the reputation of Pakistan Army. India took such a landmark decision, and Pakistan Army could do nothing, which we always knew that they can do nothing. We always knew as a fact that Pakistan Army lost every war to India. 47, 65, 71, Operation Meghdood Siachen, 1999 Kargil. We are celebrating 25 years of that Kargil victory this year. They've lost even terror. And Balakot, imagine if 12 fighter jets can go into your country without war being declared, bomb you, not just across the LC, but across the IB, hit you in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and return safely. It just shows that that army is only good for selling cornflakes and making cement. And seriously,
but that's an India-Pakistan thing. Let's go back to the elections.
So I want to come to the second part of this thing. When 370 happened, Pakistan Army could do nothing. There's nothing that Pakistan can do.
So that's a realization.
That's the realization that has come in.
That's a realization, but also that
Kashmir के नाम का चूरन बेचते हैं पाकिस्तान में.
But that also rallied the political parties to make it an issue, which is why when asked whether there can be any conversation of peace between India and Pakistan, we say this, that for India, the fact that they have taken such a hard line on Kashmir, that they will have to walk back on that. That walk back and the middle path could be a statehood for Jammu and Kashmir, but certainly not reinstating the revoked provisions of Article 370. That certainly is not going to happen.
I mean,
so
it would take the stupidest of stupid man in Pakistan to think that 370 would ever come back. And the stupidest of stupid even here to think that 370 will ever come back.
Statehood could be a point of conversation, but I keep saying this, that a bilateral conversation between India and Pakistan towards peace, like Jaishankar in his the External Affairs Minister of India in an interview to India Today to Rahul Kanwal said that unless and until they start dismantling the terror infrastructure, there can be no forward movement. However, it's in the multilateral platform that we will see engagement between India and Pakistan, because there are very important multilateral forum where India and Pakistan are members, and they would want that those forums to remain constructive.
Sure,
So
but there also
SCO,
Pakistan would be
particularly
treated
where
with the
China and
contempt.
Russia are
Yeah.
members.
But even there, I believe Pakistan would be treated with the contempt that a state sponsor of terror deserves. Engagement will be there, civil engagement will
Wherever
be there.
China is and Russia now,
I would
it's going
increasingly
to be a little
think
difficult.
the more India is able to put across its point about Pakistan being this really bad terror sponsoring state, and that message is going across, whatever Pakistan touches turns to dust. Even China, there would be a limit to what China can take Pakistan. And
No,
Russia.
China is very clear.
Yeah, and Russia is
It's
much wiser.
transactional. No, it's transactional.
The way
China.
Russia used
and they know
Imran
exactly
Khan.
why they want Pakistan.
And soon
And with
Pakistan will not
Russia-
even be good enough for that.
No,
because
with Russia, the global dynamics have changed. That's why they're engaging Pakistan. There is no other reason for them to.
And there also Pakistan
Because
is
of
such an untrustworthy. Imagine Pakistan is selling military hardware to Ukraine and wants to be friends with Russia, where Russian soldiers are being killed. So, if Pakistan thinks it can bank on Russia for anything.
No, not bank, but engagement.
Yeah.
That engagement will happen, and primarily in the SCO.
Nobody
and
wants
forums
to
such as
engage
the
with a
SCO.
beggar. If you notice, even in your family, when there's a cousin who's always asking you for money, you'll because it's a cousin, you will engage with that cousin, but then that cousin will be kept at an arm's length. And increasingly Pakistan in penury.
That does not serve our interest and purpose, Gaurav. For us, what serves our interest is to ensure that Pakistan mends its ways. All the diplomacy will be to ensure that Pakistan gets the message on terrorism, and that's that. Beyond that, we are a country that has always helped people. We are a country that has always come to the rescue of our neighbors, and
but not that neighbor who's killing our people.
No, we have even with Pakistan. We were offered during COVID. So I'm just saying that even if that has to be done, India is not going to move an inch on its policy with Pakistan when it comes to terrorism.
Exactly.
That is very clear.
You can't kill my people and then expect me to
That
give you
is very
COVID
clear.
vaccine for you to live. Because, we've burnt our fingers many times with Pakistan. I've covered the Kargil war in 1999. Vajpayee went with this goodwill gesture and Pakistan army was infiltrating and killing 550 of our soldiers. Yeah. So, lives of Indian soldiers and Indian civilians is not cheaper than Pakistani goodwill and Pakistani civilians.
Realization within Pakistan.
Unfortunately, that realization in our country also came only after Pulwama, because even after Pakistan had done Gurdaspur and multiple other terror attacks in our country, there was this effort to engage with Pakistan. Even when Prime Minister Narendra Modi went to Lahore, and after Lahore, then they did a Pathankot on us.
Even people in Pakistan realize that there is this terror infrastructure that has to be done away with.
Well, if those people realize...
But there is no movement that can happen against the military. It's quite unfortunate for the people who live there.
Well, it's their funeral for all, I'd rather the funeral is theirs than ours.
No, that's
I've covered
true.
enough funerals of our soldiers and civilians in
But
Pakistan state-sponsored radical Islamist terror for India to play that noble and holier
I'm
thing
not saying that. I'm just
at
saying
the
that
cost
right
of
now,
our lives.
Right now, India's policy is very clear.
Yeah.
We'll engage in multilaterals, but when it comes to bilateral, there will be no engagement unless and until we see some forward movement.
Again, those Pakistani artists are being encouraged to come into our film industry. The same Pakistani artists who abuse us on Kashmir, the same Pakistani artists who abuse us on Article 370 and Jammu and Kashmir. And then there are these talks that you should resume cricket. All of this somewhere shows...
But I thought they did play cricket, right?
The international, again, multilateral, not bilateral.
So that's exactly what that's the point I'm
making.
making.
No, but the film industry getting the singers to come and sing for us all over again. Should that happen, I would personally look at it as a disaster and inconsistency in India's stance when it comes to radical Islamist terror. Because terror, I'd rather that Indian musicians and Indian singers sing compared to Pakistanis, because I'd rather
That's a personal decision.
No.
I'm sure the government would have its reasons depending on what the level of engagement and where they're talking, at what level.
Those gunshots are not music to ears, those bomb blasts and those cries and those terror attacks.
A lot of conversations that happen behind closed doors, we are not privy to, and we don't know why a few steps are taken at that particular point and at that particular juncture. It only comes to light a little later. So one should be a little patient.
What comes to light later with 30 years of covering Pakistan state-sponsored radical Islamist terror is each time you play a cricket series, it's followed by a terror attack. Each
I
time you
agree.
encourage,
I'm not
it's
saying-
followed by a terror attack.
It's almost
And
like
that
we're not contradicting each other. I'm saying the
their
exact
singers
same
come to
thing,
India, make money in
that
India, and go
India's
back and abuse
policy-
India on
India's
Kashmir.
policy is going to be very clear on terrorism. Having said that, for Pakistan, these elections are crucial because this actually will show whether the people who are supporting Imran Khan and are actually questioning the military today will have a voice or not. Should they have a voice in the National Assembly, they will be a massive disruptor for the dispensation.
It could
And
also mean...
when I say the dispensation, it's not the civilian dispensation because the civilian dispensation has been placed. It's the military establishment. So the military establishment will have to think whether they can continue doing this, what they're doing. And at the end of the day, Gaurav, one has to also question the fact that Imran Khan was indeed removed, and there could be a cipher case, but there was a letter he was showing of interference that countries in the West can think that they can meddle to have a particular administration to their advantage and to the disadvantage of Pakistan itself. If there's a party that has come and questioned the military, I mean, that is to everybody's advantage, not to anybody's disadvantage.
But my point is, in Pakistan, it is so well known and it's well known globally. The 3 A's run Pakistan: America, Army, and Allah. So, if Imran Khan waves that paper, that wisdom dawned on him rather late in life.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Point one and point two, Imran
to his own interest. But the fact is that he took that risk. It's an official secrets act under which he's been now booked. It's going to be serious and convicted. So it is going to be very serious for him. We'll have to see whether he's going to take a deal or not, and what his party is really going to do in terms of getting numbers. If they do,
will we hear a Mere Aziz Hamwatno from the army or army's proxy early tomorrow morning? It's most probably going to be Mia Nawaz Sharif.
Of course it is. In the wee hours, I suppose, or later tonight.
Geeta and I will get you more on that story.
Absolutely.